in 1 minute? You know how in your classes you usually ask one question and you choose one student?
Yeah, most of kids.
It's okay, but I want to share this activity. It's called, I just created it now, Question Pass. Question Pass. One question on board. You pass. One person's in charge of one question. Everyone answers. And then next question. Teacher walks around. Someone, I wasn't here in my observation yesterday, it was Uzbek, who was in America, in Arkansas, said that in America, a lot of the teachers are more facilitators of the learning. While in Uzbekistan, the teachers are working really hard, doing all of the teaching. So it's a difference, right? Facilitation versus constantly teaching. They also teach in America, but they don't teach for 1 hour. You see what I mean? They may teach for 20 minutes and then give time for group work or pair work or create something. So I would love for you to add this activity, and I hope the discussion was interesting. Question pass. Put it in your activity bank. Question pass. How would you use it? And your discussion on your topic was very important. How would you use question pass? You know, like pass, like I pass the ball. I pass the question around. Pass, like basketball. Pass. Pass. Question pass. Timer, I hope I can pull this off. It should be about 25, 30 minutes. I'm going to move forward on giving you second language theories, second language acquisition theories. There are how many?
4.
There are many more. We're only talking about 4 here. Okay? So you have all these in your notes. If you want to follow along and take notes, feel free. So in this module, we're doing SLA. A theory or ideas is a set of ideas intended to explain facts or events. So basically, things happen in life because of some theory. Right? People make theories about it. So we're going to look at 4 theories. How many theories?
4.
Good. Here are some reflection questions. What page is this? What number?
4.
9. 9. 10. This page. Show me on that page. Okay? Here are some questions to think about. Does theory say, what does theory say is true about language learning? So each theory will have different truths, right?
Yes.
Different ideas. And I'll just explain this before I go more into the presentation. Your assessment for this module will involve you taking your textbook a unit, looking at the activity, and trying to think, what theory is it? Just so that you know where we're moving. And you'll have to explain how. So, what does theory say learners must do? What does theory say about the job, right? The job of teacher changes. I just said before, in the US, teacher's role is a little different than the Uzbek teacher context, right? Because everyone's role, and there's no one role, right? In America, we have all types of roles. Like, teachers' roles change. And what approaches do teachers, to teaching does this theory support? So, if you're just up there talking the whole time, that's one approach. If you're having students communicate with each other, like question pass, that's another approach. If you have students maybe talking about things that are important to them in their society or culture, another approach. And how could you apply some of the theory? Remember, theory is where? It's up in the clouds, right? But it's also here. You have to try to find it and see where is it, right? Happening. So, I have to do the order. Please remind me, I have to go left to right. I forgot this last time, so I want to get it this time. So, as an international teacher, you have lots of personal experience with doing what? Okay. Now, I've already had you reflect on this. Does anyone want to share? Do any of these theories, well, you don't know yet, so wait. You don't know the theories yet. So do any of these theories connect with your experience? We're going to tell you the theories in a second, because you haven't heard them yet. Nope. So, 1 second. Does anyone remember from the first activity that we did, before I go to it? I'm going to see who remembers. There are 4 different theories. Some of you had the theories.
Yes.
Could I hear one of them? Behaviorist is one. Okay, so let's see, right? Behaviorist is the first one. This is like the beginning. Next, there was innate. Next, cognitive. Those are coached. Remember, is there only 4?
No.
There's more. These are just the ones we focus on. Okay, very good. I think that I've said what I need to say this. So these changed over time. These changed over time. So I'll go for the first one. Behavior. It is from what? Alright, it says that behavior can be? Alright. Remember the example of children, repeat. Remember that thing, kids learn by repeating? This is that approach. Just repeat it 100 times and you will learn it. Say that, it says that behavior is? Reward. I want everyone to fill it in. If I don't say the word, you say it. Behavior is? Reward. Good. It will happen again. If not, it may not happen. So these behaviorist people, they try to help learners by forming what? Right? I say, how are you? You say, I feel. I say, how are you? What do you say?
I feel.
It's like automatic. Like automatic. Like the doctor. Okay. Respond quickly and correctly. So that is behavior. We're going to get into more details. Now, an example. The baby hears daddy and says, Dada. Okay. Parents give lots of? Okay, baby will say it again, right? I feel good. If the baby does something bad, boop. Baby will not do that again, hopefully, is what happens sometimes. So baby continues trying to learn to say cookie. This is basically the way that babies learn, right? Young kids learn. Now, classes. Now, this is what it looks like in the classroom. And think about Uzbekistan. Think about what you've experienced and try to see where you fit into these theories. It involves memorization and copying sounds. Memorization and copying what? Sounds. Okay, and also, teachers believe that errors come from using first. Okay, so I guess if you have a certain habit that you had in your first language, it may come into the next one. And they try to help students learning new second language habits. So what's the key word? Habits. It's things that we do over and over. Habits. So I would circle habits and be like, yeah, habits. All right. Behaviorist theory. Now, this is, what is it called? So theory is the big idea, and there's a certain approach of teaching. What is it called? It's right there. Audiolingual. So behaviorist is like the sky, right? You look at the sky over Uzbekistan or America or wherever, and then you see a cloud floating. That cloud is called audiolingualism. And it's a famous behaviorist teaching. Okay, good. Students do what? Okay, students do what? And sentence patterns. Students also do not. Think about Uzbekistan. Is this something that students do or don't do in Uzbekistan? I don't know. Is this? Yeah? Some teachers may do, some not. Okay. Okay. So you may be looking at a behaviorist reality here. Now, behaviorist theory is what? Now, less important. It's less important. It explains how students can, without thinking. Do you want your students to learn with thinking or without thinking? I mean, I don't know. I kind of want to be able to think when I talk. Right? I want to be able to think. I don't want to just be automatic. I want to be able to think and use the language in a creative way. So I think thinking is important. And remember, no one approach is wrong. Right? No one approach is wrong. There are different ways of looking at learning and teaching, okay? So this started in the 50s. It's not been forgotten. A disadvantage is that learners may not know what to do when they hear new language patterns. So basically, you train students, and I think this is Uzbekistan, I don't know, to memorize everything. Do you do that here or no? Yeah. Some people are, do you train students to memorize here? Sometimes? I mean, memorization is not bad, right? But if, not some things, some less. Okay, so it's not bad, but I think what it's saying is a problem is if I hear a new pattern of language, and I have not memorized it, I'm lost. Right? So that's a little bit of the problem of the theory. All right. Behaviorists. We see behaviorist theory at work in classrooms. So this is key. When you're going to look at your assessment, you're going to think, are these things being asked in my textbook? What are they? When students? Okay? If those things are happening, you're going to talk about them in your assignment. All right, now we're going to just, I think you could just write notes around this. Take about 2 or 3 minutes. Take some notes. You can also share with your table group. Try to share with each other. Answer these questions. As we go through it, test what you've learned so far. So what is this language saying is true? Yeah, you have to go back and check. What does this theory say about learners? It says something, right? Learners must copy and repeat and memorize. What does it say about the job of the teacher? Timer, put 4 minutes on the clock, 3 minutes. Let's have people discuss it. 3:30. Just write your answers to those 5 questions. You can share with each other. 4, I already know, is audio lingualism.
becoming conventional.
Yeah, you have a question?
I have an appointment at 12 o'clock with the dentist. What does it say about learning and do?
Whatever you miss, you'll give me you tell me what
Structures
Tell me about it.
at the same time, and learners must minimum structures.
Okay, 1 minute to go. Try to answer these questions on your page. Yeah, answer them. That's the whole point. It's a writing, listening, speaking, and discussing activity. So you should be writing.
Yes. Then we will should discuss in our group, yes?
Exactly. You can do it on your own. I mean, some groups are already sharing, which is
Okay,
fine.
now let's give
It's
them.
fine.
What does this theory say? It's true about language and language.
Okay, so in a moment, I'm going to keep going through the theories. Do you see what you did there? You discussed the topic. You got the answers to the questions. You saw, that's clear, right?
Yeah.
You're going to be doing that again for another topic. Okay? When we start the jigsaw, I'm going to keep doing my presentation. But what I would like you to do right now is on this page, where it says, behaviorist, on a big number, write 1. Please write 1 on the top of this page, like so. May I write on it? Please write 1 on it. Because when I assign you a number, this will be your work. Right? Because I'm going to be dividing the theories. Right? Next. Exactly. Questions on page 28 will be 2. 2. Everyone, page 28. I'm just going to do it on your book. 2 will be page 28. So please, page 28 will be 2 and 8. I hope you don't mind. I'm going to keep writing on it. Now when I put it, I'm putting it on the reflection question. 3, page 34, reflection questions. Yeah, sorry. Unit 3. 4, page 42. 4, page 42. 42. Page 4, number 42.
What page? What does 42 is 4, yes?
Exactly. All right, beautiful. Finish it off, 10 seconds. Timekeeper, I'm going to need an extra 10 minutes, just in case, so you know. going to keep going through the presentation, and then we're going to do the jigsaw. Hello, hello? Hello, hello? Hello, hello? Hello, hello? I'm going to keep going through the presentation. It sounds weird. I don't want to speak that loud because it's going to hurt my throat. And after I finish the presentation, we're going to do the jigsaw activity. So the same way we did this reflection in a small group, you will do it again, possibly on another topic. Okay, so I'm going to keep presenting, and then after we'll do the jigsaw. Okay? So I'm going to keep going. You got a little practice on practicing working in a small group with the questions. So, next theory is called innatist. Innatist, developed by Noam Chomsky. Began in, says the brain has, okay, and different from other kinds of, basically a part of your brain is just for language learning, right? It's natural, it's inside of you, you're born with it. Okay, it says all languages follow basic principles called, and it's part of the brain's ability to. Now, an example. There are mistakes. I mean, I could just let you work on this on your own, but I think it's good I present it to you. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So there are mistakes that a child's learning to speak. Children understand and create sentences that they never. Right? So if I was just memorizing behavior style, I wouldn't be able to be creative with the language, right? So kids naturally create sentences they've never heard before. This is what the innatist theory says. And this is because their brains know something about language without being taught. Yeah. Krashen's model is called the monitor model. It represents 5 hypotheses. This is so annoying. I really hate it. All right. What are the 5 ideas? We acquire language unconsciously. But we learn language. So acquire and learn are 2 different words. Does someone want to try? I mean, I don't have the exact answer. What do we think the difference is?
So acquire comes naturally.
Okay.
Learning comes some by theoretically or some.
Yeah, it seems to me that acquire is more about input, things you just get, right? Kids, they hear a lot of language. Maybe you read a lot. It's not, I mean, there is effort, but when you learn, you say, now I sit down.
Yes.
Now I study.
Press it.
Yeah, so that's the difference.
Yes.
One is more happening, and another one is really, forced. We acquire knowledge by speaking, and we learn knowledge to check for mistakes and correct them. Okay, so check for, all right, so let's keep going here. All right, now this is called the monitor model. A monitor, it's something that I've been doing in the classroom. It's when I'm walking around monitoring. I'm observing what you're doing. So let's see what this hypothesis is. All language learners acquire in the same order. We acquire language when we receive. Someone was seated here before, I don't remember who. They said, what does I plus 1? Was that you? Was that you? Everyone moves so many times, I don't know who's. I plus 1, let's see. Listening or reading things that are just a bit our level. This is called
I plus 1 level.
I plus 1. I meaning, I actually means input.
Input, yes.
I, not I, this one. I as input. So as teachers, we don't do I plus 20. We don't do I minus 5. Right? We do I plus 1. If your activity is not working, it's probably because it's too much.
I plus 5. Because
This is my favorite one. If I ever do higher studies, I want to do, I've done masters in TESOL, but if I do PhD, like Tamrika, I'd want to do something about emotions and motivation. To me, that's such an interesting topic. And this is really key. I'll just make this distinction. Right, race. Got my little recorder there. Because we had this problem in the assessment last time. What does effective mean? It's something good, right?
yes.
Okay. This is another word. It sounds effective. Oh, effective. It sounds the same. Effective can be negative or positive, but in the way we use it for affective filter, it's more negative. What it means is you feel nervous when you speak. You feel afraid. Right? It's everything related to, and you could write this next to it, feelings. So when you write your assessment, don't write effective filter. You see what I mean? Just keep that in mind. These two words are two different things. I just wanted to share. So it's saying, and this is so important, learners don't learn when they
Feel nervous.
frightened or worried. They learn when they
Feel
Exactly. So we need to help the environment of our classroom be more relaxed, or at least encourage them. Yes, ma'am.
Ocean activity.
What?
Ocean activity.
That's why I did the ocean activity.
In order to cheer up.
To feel better.
Feel better.
Yeah. Yes. Okay, Innatist theory. Less important now. Ideas very important, moving language away from
Rules.
and drills. It used to be a lot of rules and drills. It still may be. And it's more moving towards.
Communicative language.
All right. Oh my gosh, this is almost there. Now, what does this look like in the classroom? Tell me. Input, right? Reading and listening. Use English
To communicate with each other.
and are not,
Correct for every mistake.
right? Behaviorist is probably correcting
Correct, yes.
constantly, while innatist will not do every mistake.
Receptive skills.
It's a lot more about input, while behaviorist is all about teacher gives, student repeats. Now, if you ask yourself, what does the Uzbek classroom look like generally more? Is it more behaviorist or innatist?
Behavior.
It's more behavior. Teacher give, student respond. Kind of like the mirror activity.
Yeah.
You're just doing mirroring. It's not a problem, but just become aware. I think it only becomes a problem when you get stuck in one way, right? I'm not going to do this because you're going to do this in a moment in your jigsaw, but the people who are working on this topic will be discussing it. What is the number?
2.
So when you get that number, that's going to be your specialty. You're going to be referring to this slide and to this article. Okay? All right, I'll keep going. See, I could just leave you to do it on your own, but I think it's kind of nice for me to explain it, if that's okay with you. I'm doing, right now, a very teacher-centered approach, right? Which I move away from, but number 3 is called? Based on?
Research, psychology.
Students must?
Not to think before they can.
Now, this involves the student thinking for themselves, right? It says input.
It's usually not enough.
Students need?
Interaction too.
Okay, now by a raise of hands, 5 meaning your students do interaction a lot, every class, numerous times, 1 being they do not. I want you to just think of your classroom and show me with your hand 5, a lot of interaction of students with students, 1 very little. 3 maybe 1 time. Show me, do your students interact a lot with each other in English? Or it could be Russian or Uzbek, but I think if it's an English class, it should be in English. Or 1, very little. Everyone show me. Think of your class. Show me. Show me. 3 means maybe 1 time. 2 times in a class. 4 maybe 4. How many times are your students interacting? Basically, 1 very little, 5 a lot. In English. I don't know. Much better. Never. Usually. All like often. A lot. Show me. Let me see. Show me.
They're feeling bad about it.
Don't feel bad. Just look around the room.
Yes, it's up to grades.
It's a different grade. Just look around the room. How much do they interact with each other? It's not a problem. But just look. Okay, I'm seeing some 3, so 1 time maybe a little bit sometimes. Not very much. Okay, a little bit. This theory is saying learners need what?
Interaction.
They need to be with each other and learn together. An example could be, learners listen to a recording of a conversation of a buyer and a seller, and they will learn much more. So that's good, but they learn more if they do what?
Role play, yes.
And practice. Practice is the best.
What did I have you do with the vocabulary this morning?
We have practiced it.
You created a role play.
Yes.
You created a dialogue. Thank you. I'm almost there. I promise. You're so good on time. I love it. Now, what does this look like? I said that already. How does this work in the classroom? You help learners notice. It's often called. Remember the form, the 3 columns?
Yes.
Form, meaning, use. You focus on form. And learners practice. All right. We're losing some people in the back, but what are you going to do? All right. I think that's it. Oh my gosh. That's 3, right? I still have 1 more.
Yeah, we have got 4. Social culture.
We're almost there. It's very important nowadays. It's used in what kind of classrooms? Communicative. Oh my gosh. That will be a reflection question for that team. Last one. It says what?
Social cultural theory.
Context. What does context mean? It's the situation. It's the situation. And it's based on 3 things here. Culture, community, and communication. So these things change based on the situation. Now, learners become more skillful when they interact not just with each other, but with a community and an international community. So it's more important than language and culture. Oh, so it's not just about culture of US, culture, it's all about different communities. It was developed by Vygotsky. And Vygotsky said learning happens when we...
Interact with someone more than you do.
So I plus one.
Yes.
You're the person, you're the teacher, I'm your student. You're my input. You know a little more than me, so I learn from you. But I also can learn in the class. All right, I think that's it. Now this is a key concept. Zone of, okay, level of knowledge or skill that is just above. It's the same thing as I plus one.
Yes.
Same thing.
What's the difference between I plus 1 and social?
To me, they're the same.
The same.
If you ask my opinion, research it, maybe you can get a better answer. But to me, it's just the level of knowledge. I think it's just to me, it sounds very similar. I'll be honest.
I plus 1 is referred to only reading and listening.
Okay, it could be that. Right, maybe I plus 1 is reading and listening. To me, the concepts are very similar,
Yes.
if you ask me. Yep. But you may have more answers to that in the book. If you're assigned to that, you will figure it out. All right, good. So that's it. We can do better when we're around people who are better than us. I have the perfect example, ping pong. Anyone here play ping pong? I love ping pong. If you ever want to play with me, let's play. No? If you play with people, my guys in the back, I don't know what you're talking about, but it's not this. And I can see you. I'm ignoring you, but I see you. I'm aware. Okay? So, ping pong. If I want to get good at ping pong, do I play with people who are not as good as me? Or do I play with people who are better than me? That,
Play better than you.
I've experienced it. If I,
Best in this group, I think.
well, we'll play later. I can't wait. But I play with people who are better than me, right? That's if I play with the ones who don't know the technique, I will keep learning the mistakes, right? This is the same as our classroom. We should be intentional about different students mixing with each other, moving them around, and you're good. But the students are also, they know something, right? You should try to have them play with the language together. So I've done a lot of talking. It's been really teacher-centered. This is the most important theory today, but people use all of them. It's all about scaffolding and
Cooperative work.
group work. It increases language.
Learning for the students.
Scaffold is what you put on sides of building. Sentence starters, graphic organizers. As the students get better, you take them down. All right. This is where students, how does this look like in the classroom? Students do what?
Work together.
Produce a dialogue, product. Now this is key. Keep this one in mind as a teacher. You need to give them
Vocabulary.
and a model. I can't just say, go do it.
Yes.
I'll be honest, 90% of the classes, and I've only seen 3, but of the classes I've seen, teachers just say, and they say, go. I've seen very little modeling. That's not a bad thing, but think about it. Are you modeling? Are you showing them how to use the language? Are you giving them the words? Are you telling them? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, for each activity we should demonstrate.
Giving instructions is not the same as modeling. Right? It's different. What's the difference? Can someone tell me?
Yes. Here we are teachers. That's why
Tell
we
them,
make,
tell them,
yeah,
tell them.
Here we are teachers. That's why he just instructs us to do the activity. But in the class, we should demonstrate at least one time. Then ask them to do the same.
I think I've done a little bit of modeling, haven't I?
Yes.
Have I done modeling? I haven't just instructed. If I did, I'm sorry. I think I've modeled also.
In some cases.
Yeah, but it's okay. I'm not offended. But I think I've also done both. It's both.
I'm going to give the example for that. The ones you said, instructions, some of us didn't catch that. And then once you show it how to do, Then we understood it.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I did that.
Thank you. Yes.
Those are two different acts of teaching. One is instructions, saying. Other one is showing. Oh, I did it with the question with this question pass, right?
Yes.
I went to her, I said, I'm going to ask the question, and we passed it around. Everyone looked, they saw the model, then everyone did it successfully. You see? If I just explain and say go, everyone's like, cool. I think I've gotten everything. That was quite a lot. Thank you for your patience. I hope that you found it helpful. And then you have reflection questions here. We're not going to do that. So, what's going to happen now? All right, we got 20 minutes on the clock. Two things are going to happen. First, actually numerous things are going to happen at once. My volunteers have papers there. Let me explain. Everyone will be assigned to one theory. I will explain which theory in a moment. My volunteers are going to go around, hand those papers out. Right now?
Third person?
One person. It's right there. Yours are there. You will be responsible for how many theories? One theory. One theory with your group, with another group. I will explain. I don't want to give too much information. You are responsible for how many theories?
One.
You have to all write down the same thing. Right?
Yes.
There's different topics here. Columns. Learner's role. Teacher's role. Teaching approach, your classroom. Please number them. 1, behaviorist. Next step, step 2, number. Everyone number. Okay. Number it.
Okay.
Number. I'm not moving forward. Good. Show me it's numbered. Just number. Just number. I said number them all. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, next step, everyone pack your things. Pack, pack, pack. Don't move, but pack your stuff. You got 10 seconds, pack. Don't leave though, just stay. Stay in your seat. Nope, the directions was pack your things, stay seated. Let's look at the board. On the upper left-hand corner, you're going to be lost. You should not be talking right now. Thank you. If we look in the upper left-hand corner, we have 4 colors, right?
Yes.
4 numbers. Okay? That is called home group. Okay? Look around. This is your home group. Say hi, home group. Hi, home group. Okay? What's going to happen is you are going to number yourselves 1 to 4. Okay? Now, that will be your expert group. All of the ones will come to sit here or here. I'm explaining, right?
Yeah.
Remember, you're going to get a number. You're going to put your finger up so I know what your number is. All right? All the 2s will come here and or here. All of the 3s will come here or here. All the 4s here or here. Make sure you're all packed and ready to go. you will be given about 20 minutes to fill out your section. What's section 1 called? What's section 2? Section 3? Section 4? Okay. Are there any questions about these columns? You are going to use two things. The slides, the presentation, which is in there. And this article. Okay?
Okay.
So here's how it's going to work. Everyone, please stand up. We're going to count from 1 to 4. As soon, stay in your place. Stay in your place. Do not move. Do not move. Stay.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay, stay in your place. Wait. Show me your finger. Show me your number.
2, 3,
Show me.
1.
2, 3.
Okay? Keep it on your hand. Keep it. 4.
4.
1. Good. 2. Keep your finger.
4.
Go in order. 4. 4. 4. 4. 1. 2. 3. 4. 4. Keep 1. 3. 3. You have 30 seconds to seat at the correct table. Go. If you're 1, stay here. 1 is there. 20 seconds. Okay. One person at each table will be timekeeper. Please, that person at each table, raise your hand. One person, you can't have 2. One person. 1. No, it's okay. 1. 1. Okay, good. Another person is the question kind of asker. Hey, what's the learner's role? Who's that person? Who's the question asker? Hey, what's the teacher's role? I need someone at each table. Question asker. Who is that? Good. Okay, good. Question asker. Who is it? Raise your hand. Very good. Very good. Okay. Now, writer is everyone, but one person is going to be the checker. He or she will check. Does everyone have the answer? So checker, right? Check. So one person. Who's the checker? Checker. Only one person. Checker. 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 Good. Checker. Who's the checker? One who's checking. Good. Checker. Checker. Last person is mask police. Okay. Mask police. Mask police. Mask police. Police. You keep those masks on. Okay? Are we clear on the directions? After 20 minutes, you will move back to your home. And you will present your information, and you will take notes on others' information, so that at the end of 40 minutes, we learn from all of our classmates, or actually about 35 minutes.
How many times?
So, timers on 20 minutes. Are we all clear on the rules? Yes.
When you talk about the theory,
Exactly. Ready, set, go. Table group. Oh yeah, I forgot. You should have made someone the reader. You could have another person as the reader helping read it. Yeah. Please use the article. Please, ladies, please use this article. Have one person at least reading through the article also. The article also has really good information. So have someone be your reader. Great, great. So maybe, I guess, one person or two could be kind of focusing on the article, the reader. Nice. You also have an article if you want to use it. It's in the beginning.
Yes.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful.
What is the role of checker?
Checker will see, did everyone get the correct answer? And you will write it and make sure everyone is getting the same thing. Otherwise, we'll have a problem when we go back.
But everyone's maybe words can be different like this.
That's not a problem, but just make sure they have
the same, yeah?
Exactly. You're checking if they're correct. You're the monitor.
Compare grammar L1, L2, then correct L1.
I like how some groups are working individually, some together. Yeah.
What can we write here? Teaching approaches.
I guess it's the way, but let's look at an example because I always need examples. So what do teachers do in this one? They learn,
Learners work
or
together.
teaching approaches, not what teachers do. Learners work to complete activities and tasks. Teachers give necessary vocabulary, scaffolding. That's for socioculture. So what are learners doing? What are teachers doing? What does it look like? Like basically, what would your approach be if you were teaching using that theory? Yeah. So a classroom would be examples. One is more dialogue, one is more repeating activities.
What do we use in the classroom?
So specifically, behaviorists would be more repeating, mimicking, like memorizing. What is your example? You'd have to explain it. Yeah, so the difference is one about like when you see a classroom, what activities are you doing? Activities. And this is basically your approach. What do teachers do? What are learners expected to do? Expectations on what they're supposed to do.
Use like learners from this text learn dialogue sentence patterns.
Right, right.
And how can we teaching approach describe?
Of course, yeah, of
You
course.
may use, for
Yeah.
example, in teaching approach, can we use perspective approach here?
What
teaching
I
approach?
looked at as an example was this. So learners, it's not your topic, but it's an example to help you. They work together to complete activities and tasks. So in your approach, are learners working together or individually?
No, individually.
So you're going to put that. You're going to figure out what are the differences for teachers and learners. Yeah.
Our task, our first group only is first one.
This is your expert group.
Yes, expert.
Upon returning home, you will learn from your classmates.
The others.
Right,
So
because the first way I taught all this was very traditional. Teacher-centered, I'm talking, you know what I mean? You needed me for the learning. In this jigsaw, you're gonna need each other. Yeah, so it's a different way with the same information. Yeah, that's a really good idea to write it on the top of the second page because I would not remember.
Yeah.
I would tell everyone to do that. Good idea. Yeah, they did it. amount of time, team? 6 minutes. If we're not done, I just want to confirm something with you. The 4 columns. I didn't maybe explain it. First one are important ideas, people, and concepts. There's another one. This is key. Learner's role. The role is what you're doing. Right? In some approaches, the role is different for teachers. So one column is learner's role. I think this is correct, right? Teacher's role. And the last one are example activities. Just so that you make it clear, I think, yeah, it's all there. It's all the same thing. Is that clear? So students should. Teacher should. Is that, I just want to make sure, is that clear to everyone? Is that clear on the different columns? Give a specific example. I'll put this in the chat. You can put it in the chat. All right, 5 minutes to go before we go home. I'm looking at the robot skip.
It's dependent learner.
I think what I'm going to have everyone do after is include the title in your like dependent learner. Just include it with your name. It's good. Yeah. Yeah. No, what is the important? Yeah. People, this column should be filled. Important. I just really thank you for helping me. Important ideas. Who is the theorist? What is the main idea? You also fill this up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I realize it's similar. I see ideas twice. Just if there's a name of a person, if there's a theorist, include it there, if possible.
Just name, yeah?
Yeah, just the name. Maybe the time period, 1950s, early. All right, 1 minute to go. Finish it off. 1 minute. Beautiful. You're almost there. So, if this is all about, this classroom is role plays, or dialogue, or repeating, or what. And think about some of these activities, that we've done for your classroom. Think about your classroom. What would it look like? What would it look like? What activities would happen in cognitive theory? What would it look like? There's examples on the slides. Dialogue, repeating. You started late. Yes, you did. 1 minute. Checkers, get your work. You're my checkers. Is it possible? The last column. I can even show it right now before, so that'll help. Good idea. We'll do it before. Thank you. All right, don't leave yet. Don't leave yet. I'm gonna help. Someone made a suggestion that was really smart. Okay. I realize the last column, we don't have a lot of examples, so we'll do this together. Hopefully this will help fill in your column. So you're going to have to figure out what approach is this activity, this classroom activity. Number 1, memorizing text, poem. Is it B? Is it I? Cognitive? What do you think?
B.
I'm thinking it's behaviorist. It's a memorization activity. So my people who are number 1, fill that in. Memorizing. Number 2, writing a short story on a topic. I'm not really sure. What are we thinking? Oh, I just realized. It could be different ones, honestly. I think that the reason... No? Cognitive, we don't think?
What about behaviorist? Behaviorist.
Behaviorist? Do I have the answers?
Can we also show dialogue
Personally, can I share what I think it is? One of the aspects of cognitive, from what I remember, was saying your own opinions, right? While behaviorist is more about repeating, like a robot. So to me, if I'm writing a short story, it's an original idea. I could be wrong, but to me it sounds like cognitive. You're using your brain to create something new, right? So I'd say this is cognitive. 3, finding patterns of a grammar point. Maybe it is. Actually, I'm going to double check. I thought the thing with patterns was the one with Chomsky. I could be wrong. You're saying it is. It's definitely not socioculture. Cognitive theory, anything with patterns here? Oh! Oh, look, examples of grammar patterns. So, cognitive theory. Yeah, grammar patterns is cognitive theory. So, whoever was cognitive, I guess it's also cognitive. Grammar pattern, cognitive, right? I'm using my brain to think, brain thinking about what is the pattern. Remember, the behavior is not as much thinking, just repeating. Okay, next one.
Exactly.
Sociocultural. Let's check. Let's check. Oh, look. Students work together to produce a dialogue. Could also be cognitive. It could be both. Some of these activities work on both. So it's both role plays, dialogues, cognitive. I don't know where the examples are. Very good.
Yes.
Cognitive. Okay, we got it. Beautiful. Last one. Oh, we have all the answers here. Oh, here are the answers. So B is behavior. First one. Second was cognitive, actually. You were correct that the third one was cognitive and sociocultural. Number 4. Okay, we did. Number 5. Reading. Number 5. Reading a whole novel. What is it?
It's negative because it refers to I plus one and the hypothesis.
It was shown?
Because reading a whole novel is
Reading a novel.
reading a whole novel.
You said you saw it? I didn't see it. Innatus. Ow. Okay, so now with our last about 10 minutes, maybe it'll be more like 15, you are going to go back home. And in order for this to be orderly, make it a little bit like a game. So you're going to say, I'm going home, I'm going home. Everyone, I'm going home, I'm going home, I'm going home. 20 seconds, go home. I'm going home. Going home. You're home here. You don't have to go anywhere. I'm going home. I'm going home. All right. For the next 15 minutes. 5 seconds. Go. 5 claps means sit down, quiet, ready to start. Timer is on. Timer is on. Timekeeper. 15 minutes on the clock. I need everyone presenting. You're one person. Whoever's one will present. With all the other numbers will write. Don't just copy. Don't just say how to. No. Modeling it. No. How will this look? How will this look? Show me. Show an example. What would you say? Okay, hey guys, this is mine. She would present. And then change. Okay. Table groups, go. Table groups. Mother of the land.
We are doing our sharing. B.F. Skinner.
Yeah,
Ooh.
in 1957. So he explained first language acquisition as imitation and reinforcement. He was an American psychologist. He was born in 1904.
Poor guy. But his ideas live on.
Okay, start. He's the first one. Okay, she's first.
You can do together.
Okay. Learner's role. And who is important person first of all? Okay. Behaviorist. B.F. Skinner. B.F. Skinner. What kind of that Skinner? Like this?
Help spell it. Spell it for them. Yeah, help.
The learner's role. They should listen and repeat, memorize.
What's going on? What's going on here? Who's presenting?
We are coming back home.
Yeah, but who's presenting?
Listen.
Are you presenting?
He's presenting.
So why are they not writing?
I'm writing.
But what about the rest of your team? It's like you only talk to dad, you don't talk to the family. Talk to everyone.
Must listen and repeat the same words or phrases until they learn perfectly. Repeat.
Good.
No, it is the second developer. Yes. His brain has a special ability to learn any language, the second language. Set is the gaps.
Sorry, what does this number mean? 25%?
How
What is that? Is that an activity or what does that mean?
how much percent of we follow like this? You see,
Oh, okay. This, your classroom means what do these behaviorist activities look like? So I like that example, but okay, good. So you missed that. Repeating vocabulary, memorization. Okay, good. Just making sure.
And so learners' errors could be predicted.
Teacher center. Teaching approach.
Students work individually.
Comparing
What's some basic.
Basic.
What about the teacher's role?
Of 1957.
Our brains follow 1980. 80? He did monitor model. And it has 5 hypotheses.
Hypothesis, yeah. Hypothesis.
And gives she gave lots of opinions about 5 hypotheses. And key points?
Key concepts.
Key concepts. The first one, language is acquired through exposure. Language is acquired through exposure.
Required, yes?
Is acquired through exposure. The next, language is learned through study. Language is learned through study. It's learned through studies. The next one, natural order. Natural order.
What can we understand?
For example, if the child heard that when we explained that we add ed to the past form, and if we didn't explain that some words take the other, for example, if we have irregular and regular verbs, yes, they can add ed to all the words.
Step by step, yes?
It means yes. For example,
Automatically they
natural order.
eat.
It means yes. For example, if I say play, played, watch, watched, and I put on the blackboard write go, they can say go.
Good.
So it's natural order. They thought like this. Okay, the next one, I plus one. I plus one. It's input. When
plus
we
one.
when we give
Read.
some tasks just about the level of learners. Okay, the next one is emotional state. So it proves that in order to learn some language, it should be interesting, it should be fun. In other way, you cannot learn the new language. If you're frightened, if you're worried, it's very hard.
Encourage. Encourage is essential.
So it means that emotional state affects the learning process.
Okay. The next, teacher's role.
Teacher's role is teacher should be observer in this. Observer should observe. Observer, yes, and he or she must correct mistakes. For example, if
Every mistake, it means, yes.
Correct? Every mistake.
Every mistake, yes. The next one is teacher should organize their lessons fun and interesting. In fun and interesting way. Teachers should organize their lessons in fun and interesting way.
The next?
and classroom. And during the lesson, teacher can use lots of messages.
No, about approach. Okay, so for approach, prescriptive approach. Prescriptive approach, it's learn the knowledge. When we, for example, when we explain some rules, yes, yes.
The next.
And then descriptive approach, it means acquired knowledge. When they get input by listening, yes,
both of them.
because they learn by listening and reading.
The next.
And the last one, it's, for example, we have an example, read the whole novel, yes? And I think reading and listening tasks and making dialects on their own.
And also, I add CLT method because CLT or debate we can add because every pupil can speak together and teacher does not correct the mistakes during the discussion.
Okay.
We can add discussion, debate like that method.
The next. Cognitive. Cognitive, important people and ideas based on research input. Based on research input. Psychology.
So, I plus one?
No. Based on research input, psychology. So it was adapted since 1990. Since 1990. It's more modern.
Modern.
Yes. By the psychologist we added, and the key concept is the idea of learning language by input. Learning by input. Yes. The second is can get input by listening.
By input and by listening, yeah?
Yes, by listening.
And also interaction.
Interaction also.
Yes, the third one is interaction. Methods is essential here. The next one is the learner's role.
Learners.
Listen to recording and recording conversation.
And also dialogue.
Role play, dialogue, and practice.
It's for teacher's role?
No, it's the learner's role.
Learner's role.
Role play, dialogue, and practice. Practice with the real life.
Learners.
In the market, they record the buyer and seller conversation. Speakers give comprehension
check.
Learner must
Teachers should help students use it.
Mathematicians establish realistic conditions for their students to practice role plays, sorry, and cognition and practice.
It could be cognitive. I just want to look at the example to tell you. You're asking what is the teaching approach? Do you look in the article? Just let's confirm in the article. Do you have your book? You should go and double check. You're not 100%. So you're asking what is the teacher's approach, right? Comes through. Comprehension tracks, learners interact. So the question is what's the teacher Learners work together. So you're going to tell us what teachers are doing and what learners are doing. Are they working together? That's one thing. They're interacting. Yeah, so teachers are checking for information. So I'm reading right here. Meaning constantly interacting. The main thing is meaning interactive. And requires clarification and repetition. You don't just say one time or that's the key. It sounds more descriptive. Oh, right there, I found it. This approach uses communicative learning. Exactly. So communicative is a type of research.
Social culture? Partially, it's social culture, partially someone.
Okay, social culture. Lev Vygotsky. L-E-V. B-Y-G-O-T-S-K-Y. Lawyer, idea is interact with someone who knows more than you. Interact with someone who knows more than you. Key concepts, cooperation, cooperation, modeling, supporting,
Last minute, finish it off. 1 minute to go.
Model and example. Before the task is given, then give necessary vocabulary. Give necessary vocabulary.
Are there any questions that you need in terms of clarification? Any things that came up that were not clear, or are you okay with this? Is it okay? Did everyone fill it in?
Yeah.
Let me see. Hold it up. Hold up one side. Oh, you mean your classroom activities after?
Yes.
Fill it in.
I will write.
This could be a fun way of checking, right? You tell all the students to do something, and then you go around and you say, oh, they got something. Oh, I see you're proud of your classroom activities. All right, first question. What did you think of the jigsaw? Was it interesting?
Yeah.
Usually, I was saying to this group before, I did the information I did very traditional. The first time I just talk, and then after you did the information again in a new way. So was any of this information new to you? Or a little bit, if it's like, was it new? Yes?
Yeah.
mascot, please?
Complete.
I'm looking at you. I can see you. All right, good. Do any of these theories connect with how, maybe you learned your first language or second language? Does anyone want to share? Does any of this information connect with you? Maybe the behaviorist, maybe the other one. So, by raise hand. Behaviorist. Do you feel like you learned behaviorist?
Yeah.
Did anyone learn maybe with sociocultural? A little bit? I heard someone talking about university and how they had a good experience there, so maybe that was different then. Okay. Have you heard of any of these people before?
No.
Okay. No. Let me see. Have you heard?
No.
Some? Some? Yes? No. In the back, what happened? Back people. Have you heard? No. All right. So, last question. Do you use any of these activities presently of any of the theorists in your classroom?
Yes.
Okay.
We use, but we don't know what
Yeah, but now you know. Now you know.
Now we can analyze and make it better.
Yeah, so
Now we can differentiate.
you can differentiate. So when you're going to go through this, remember, everything on paper is just, it can be any kind of activity, right? But you're going to try to think, what kind of an activity is this, or what way would I teach it in my classroom? So for your module assessment, you're going to have to apply these theories to your textbook. Yeah. So I thought we could do a quick debrief. You'll just do it in your phone, and it's based on a couple questions. I hope it's okay. We'll leave in about 4 minutes. Is that okay? Yeah. Very quickly, we did lots of activities. Mystery groups. Oh, actually, that was yesterday. Mirror vocabulary review. We did the Mingle.
Yeah.
We did the Frayer model. We did, that creative, express your learning in a creative way. You're going to do that again with Tamrika. That was fun. Who's the star? Oh, I forgot true, false, the 2 rooms. I didn't put it. Moving, true, false. Can you see this? I don't know if you can. Moving, true, false, moving. You did who's the star with the person in the front,
Yeah.
True, false, moving, true star. I also did one with the fingers, remember? 1, very little, 3 sometimes, 5 all the time. You could use that, I don't know, what do you want to call it? Finger assessment or finger rating? Finger rating? Finger rating? Do you have a better name or is that okay? Does that work?
Okay.
So in general, these are more descriptive activities. They're hopefully more socio-cultural, aware, communicative.
Question pass.
Question pass. All right, cool. So I just thought this is really good. I love to do this. Before we return, you could just do it now, or before you return at 2 with Tamrika, I would love everyone to just respond to these questions. Name and city. Describe your favorite activity. It doesn't need to be just from today, but why not? Just think about today. Why you liked it. We also did jigsaw. I'm going to just throw it on there because I didn't. 27 is a jigsaw. How do you plan to adapt it? Be very specific. This will help you for the assessment. This is why I'm asking you to do it. And finally, what did we learn about second language acquisition? You don't need to read the paper. Just generally explain, over time it's changed, and explain how. Right? I don't think this needs to be more than 1 minute, 30 seconds. 1 minute. Okay? You can do a recording. I will send you the sentence starters.
No, don't do that, please.
No sentence starters. Well, I can show it to you. My name is... Where's my phone at? I'm going to do an example.